So there's definitely a plot to kill Ivar. I was right about Ingrid getting herself killed, and Uba, Otter, and Torvy have now gotten themselves captured by the natives. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast Siblings, where we cover your favorite movies and TV shows. Today we're talking episode 18 of Vikings season 6. This is going to be your biggest takeaways, review, recap, all rolled into one video. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you don't miss an episode as we get ready to wrap up this season and this show for good. Let's dive into it. Okay, so let's start off where Ivar, King Harold, and Fitzurk are continuing their conquering of Wessex. King Alfred has this weird illness that's causing him to literally faint. I don't see how you could lead an army doing that, but he gave a really big speech. It seems that he's finally motivated to take on the Vikings, as he's pretty much been a coward this entire season thus far. I know some people in the comments said that he wasn't necessarily being cowardly. He made a good point. You know, it is most important that he survives to maintain Wessex. You know, saying that Wessex is just a piece of land and it's more important that the king survive and that people survive. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. The people should be protected. But when your king is fleeing instead of defending you, I don't know, I guess I'm more of a captain goes down with the ship kind of thing, unless they're moving everybody away. He doesn't need to stay if he's the only one there, but it seems like he's just abandoning them, with many people being left to fend for themselves against these Vikings. And it's like, what did they put you in charge for if not to defend them? But I digress. Anyway, Ivar wants to be the most famous Viking to ever live, right? But I think his arrogance is blinding him to two big threats staring him in the face. One that was prophesied about. Obviously, I'm talking about Fitzurk and King Harold. They've been giving each other weird looks throughout that entire episode, and I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. I think they're planning to kill Ivar. They're definitely in cahoots. And again, remember, Ivar is pretty much prophesied to be killed by Fitzurk, or vice versa. And we know what happened when we tried to wish away prophecy with Lagertha. It ended up happening. So I seriously think that this is something that he's playing right into Fitzurk's hands. With his quest to just take King Harold's place, I think Fitzurk would obviously let King Harold know that, and it's going to ultimately lead to his death. I don't think they'll get very far. I think both Fitzurk and King Harold are going to die as well by the end of this season. And this kind of plays into the inconsistency I've seen with Ivar's character, as all through this season, in some areas, he's been like genius level in strategy. And then in other places, he's just making astoundingly dumb choices, this being one of them. Now, moving on to the second biggest takeaway from this episode involving King Eric and Ingrid. If you guys remember last week, I was talking about how Ingrid was going to get herself killed by blinding Eric, as he would have no reason to protect her. He would out her as a witch and she would be burned at the stake, basically. But he hasn't done it yet. Well, until the end of the episode, he wants to put a hit on her. But this is where he's making an error as well. King Eric is no one without Ingrid. Ingrid is kind of the only one who will put up the facade of his kingship, even though she's really the one in control. Imagine what would happen if Ingrid was out of the picture. We saw a conversation with King Eric talking to all the other rulers in the land about how we need to secure our borders and this and that, etc. They wouldn't give him the time of day. He got no respect because of his disability. And even before that, I had said many times, King Eric didn't strike me as a very alpha male type character anyway, and I think that's the kind of demeanor you have to have in order to get any respect from these rulers, and Ingrid has that, so they listen to her, especially as she not only has that alpha male demeanor, but she's also the wife of the king, so she probably has closer ties, and the king would be more likely to act out and take vengeance if they did anything to her. Whereas Eric, he's just kind of the right-hand man who just happened to kind of be the only guy there at the right place at the right time when King Harold established his rulership and his kingdom. So while it was a risk that Ingrid blinded Eric because he could have outed her as a witch, I do think in the long run she'll end up protecting herself by kind of having a puppet king who's a man who I guess they'll all respect, and she really will be pulling the strings behind the scenes. Now, moving on to the third and final takeaway from episode 18, we have Otter, Uba, and Torvy all arriving in Vinland, and they're having a grand old time. There's plenty of animals there. There's plenty of, foliage and I guess fruits and stuff. I did think that Otter was going to poison Torvy and her baby when he just brought those random berries or something. That was super weird. I guess we'll see that play out in the next episode. But there's a tribe that's there. And I don't know how they didn't see this coming. They should have been more careful. They should have been very skeptical to think that they were the only people in a place so vast and so lush and so beautiful. But they got caught off guard, and now the natives, the local people of that area, have now captured them, or at least surrounded them as far as we've seen. So my question has been, and it's been this for a while, what is the point? Uba does not want to be king. Otter is just Otter. Torvy is his wife with a kid. Like, what's the reason for their survival? I'm glad that they survived and didn't die in the ocean, but I just don't see in any way the significance of their survival to the plot, especially in the last season. I don't think we should be wasting time on it. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if there's anything, any meaning that you're pulling out of their whole story arc for the most part. While you're at it, go ahead and like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell as always to be up to date when the next episode, episode 19 and then 20, it's all coming to an end, guys. I've got some other great shows that I've covered here, though. See on Apple TV is very similar to this in kind of tone and feel, so I definitely recommend you check that one out. Also, obviously, The Witcher, if you haven't seen that on Netflix, most people have. Links to my series on both of those shows will be down in the description below. Also, we're on Patreon now, so if you want to support the channel, help us make more, better quality videos and put them out faster, be sure to go and check us out over there. Also, go check out our sister channel, the La Cuente Ledger. I do tech and video game walkthroughs on that channel. So if you're into any of that, I just put out a video on the best mic for YouTube under 50 bucks. So if you're into any of that, be sure to check it out in the description below. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you for episode 19.